Morning. Glad to be here in my subdued state. I have been under the weather for the past week. Still not over it. Can't tell you what I had exactly. Suppose I could. That's beside the point. This morning is coffee and the killers of momentum. Coffee's not one of them. When we think about momentum, think about things moving and like a big rock going downhill. It just starts off slow and gravity starts pulling on it. The more it pulls, the faster it goes, and it starts to bounce over some things. I'm sure we've seen videos of kids trying to push these boulders down hills, and some of them succeed, and it's mindless video entertainment. I'm going to write that down. Mindless video, MVE. Mindless video entertainment. Something I hope that this is not. Because we don't want that, do we? Yes, I am in a bit of a fog this morning. And if I cough, apologies. It's part of what it is I'm working my way through physically. So my throat's a little raw, my voice is a little low, and that's just how it's going to be. Trying to save enough energy and voice for this morning's live stream. And yeah, I'm sorry I don't have a lot of chit chat this morning. Even the music has got a bit of a foggy head vibe to it. There's rhythm, but then there's that thing in the background. It's kind of how I'm feeling. Good morning. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You're building momentum, you're working towards something, you're getting things going, you're excited about them. But lurking in the background for every bit of momentum that you're gaining on your project, your goal, your mission, whatever it is, there's going to sometimes be an equal and opposite reaction, a resistance, something that wants to kill your momentum. I'm going to talk briefly about 3 momentum killers today. 3 things that can really just kill your momentum. First is this. Looking around. I remember in high school. I ran track in high school. And of course, you get to see all the other races. And I still to this day love going and watching races and watching track meets. We're watching the girls' mile. And we watched this for 3 laps. These girls went around, and this one girl built up a bit of a lead. Bit of a decent lead, and she knew it. And on the 4th lap, the final lap, they were coming around to the last 100 meters. Always the last 100 meters is that straightaway that goes, across the stands and to the finish line. That because the stands are there, then everybody's in the stands. All the other teams, parents, everything like that, all just running, and everybody's screaming and yelling. And my guess is down there on the track, apologies. People are just screaming and yelling, and you believe that they're yelling for them. And this girl got caught up in the idea that these people were screaming and yelling, and everybody in the stands was screaming and yelling, and I and my friends were in the stands screaming and yelling, and her down there not having two clues what we were screaming and yelling about. And about half the crowd was screaming and yelling at her to continue running because she slowed her pace. She actually thought that the entire world was watching her, and she was winning by such a tremendous margin that she just kind of slowed up a little bit, which was kind of crazy, because the problem is that there was another girl that was running like there was no tomorrow, and there wasn't, catching up. And this girl in the lead, that she had such a big lead on, she was just caught up in the crowd, and she was just acknowledging the crowd. I forget whether she was actually waving or not, but she was just acknowledging the crowd, thinking that this was her victory lap. But the race wasn't done yet, because there was another girl that was running as hard as she could, as fast as she could, with everything that she had left. And you can guess the ending to this. This was back in the days before cell phones. This was back in the days where if you were videotaping this, you knew two things were obvious. One, you were richer than everybody else, and two, it was 8mm. That's how long ago this was. But yet I remember it so vividly, because this girl lost on the last step before going over the finish line, because this other girl did not look at the crowd. She wasn't looking around. She probably didn't hear a thing. She was probably laser focused on that finish line and getting there before that girl in front of her. And the girl in front of her was focused on the crowd, and hence she slowed down. Now, there's a fix to this, which is good. And it's hard sometimes. Ignore the crowd. Social media is all about, ooh, I'm getting the likes, and I'm getting the comments, and I'm getting the feedback, and I'm getting all that stuff. And sometimes you just have to ignore the crowd and do what you do. You have to ignore the crowd. If you want to keep momentum, on your project, on your goal, on whatever it is you're working toward, you have to ignore the crowd. Now, it's great that there may be a crowd that's cheering for you, but there's also a crowd that's not cheering for you. There's always those people, and you have to ignore them. And you have to stay focused, and you have to stay fixed on your own momentum, on your own goal, and stop looking around. We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Let it go. Let the crowd go. The next momentum killer is no streamlining. Not streamlining a process. Again, years and years ago, semi-trucks were flat, completely flat in the front. And they only went up so far, and then the trailer that they were pulling was flat also, and it was up even higher. So you've got wind that's going, that is just, and is hitting the front, the flat part of a vehicle doing 60, 65 miles down the road, and what air gets above that maybe hits the truck bed. And we're seeing in the last 20 years or so, we're seeing trucks, and all of a sudden they have these curved, like cowling on the top of their vehicle, like they're being retrofitted with these things. It just helps the air get around a little more. On the front of the trucks that we see, there's mounted these great big, it looks like a great big wide bubble. And it's all for the purpose of, instead of having the air just go flat and splat against and hit, it's for the air to move around. And there's a reason for that, is because some engineer figured out that if we cut down on the resistance, the trucks would run a little better. And if the trucks would run a little better, they get a little better gas mileage. And if they get a little better gas mileage, there'd be a little less cost incurred in the travel. Until now, there's some trucks that are completely streamlined, which is kind of cool. But it's all for the sake of, saving money. Let's be honest. Efficiency saves money. But it's the idea of streamlining. If you don't have any streamlining, now there's a fix for us, is polish our edges. We may have this process that we're working on that's getting us daily toward our goal, but there's some things in there that are just slowing us down. Some things that are just some unnecessary steps, let's just say. And those steps may be steps that we actually like. Hey, I'm doing this thing, and I go through my paces every day, and I really love step number 7. I really love that. That's just a cool thing. but it's completely unnecessary to the process. I have that problem myself in doing things like this. I start getting so caught up in wanting to do I got to get the slides just right, and I have to get this just right and that just right. And it's just not quite right because I'm spending too much time. I'm majoring on the minors, not minoring on the majors. And what we need to do is we need to polish the edges of of our systems, of our processes, in order for them to become most efficient, so that we can keep moving forward into our goals. That's a momentum killer. Is not streamlining, just being satisfied with a rock instead, where you could be a marble, if you catch my drift. And then there's a third killer. And that's losing sight of why. I didn't say losing sight of your goal. I said losing sight of your why. Why are you doing this in the first place? Now, the goal, I'm working a 3-month mission. Me and another group of people, we're working a 3-month mission. Our mission is different. One person's mission is doing one thing, another person's mission is something else specific to them, but we're working it together. We're helping each other together. And, you know, the goal for me is not the end of the 3-month mission, which is going to be the end of March. For me, the goal is not the end of March. That's the end of of that section of the 3-month mission. But it's part of my why, and my why is a much bigger picture. My why is much bigger than 3 months. It spans years, and I want to realize and get hold of the idea that I don't want to lose my why. I don't want to forget what my why is, my ultimate purpose. There can be many goals, but there's got to be the ultimate overarching purpose. So the fix is a daily reminder. This is real practical for me. I have a daily reminder. I have a couple things that sit on my desk where every time I come in and I sit down, I see those things, and it's a reminder of my why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? That's a thing that can keep the momentum going and keep myself focused not just on my goal, but on my greater overall why. Why am I doing this? My voice is about gone, so I'm done for the day. Be aware of the momentum killers in your life as you're working toward the goals and the big pictures that you're working toward, that you're wanting to finish. But fight against those those momentum killers, those things that want to slow you down. So if you've liked this, I'd appreciate it if you comment, like, and share. And part of that is almost on the screen. Most of it, but not all of it. Have a great day. I'm Bill McConnell. Once you conquer yourself, everything else becomes possible.